back yet again.
What's
Welcome
happening?
back.
What's happening? What's happening?
What's going down? Welcome back to the Cruxmen.
Woo!
We are man. So
We're back.
we did it.
Yeah.
This is like this is a lovely trend that we're starting.
I like it.
We're keeping it alive.
Man.
So I've been a little distracted all day today watching NFL football.
Okay. All right.
And right now, it looks like the Bengals just got finished. I think it was like a fumble. They just ran back for a touchdown. So this game is very close. It was 17-17. It no longer is. Bengals are up by a score. I'm not really sure what he's upset about right now. No idea, but I will stay focused.
You know what? I'll take the Bengals.
Shit, everybody took the Bengals. I mean, I honestly, I was. Lamar's not playing, so it's kind of like a no-brainer almost. Like Bengals are supposed to win. However, I am rooting for the underdog, which I like the Bengals. I mean, not the Bengals, but the Ravens. So the fact that Huntley's balling the way he's doing right now, I mean, he's not the starter. He was never the starter, but Lamar's out. So I like seeing guys step up and handle business. I think he's been doing that. And then if they lose, you really can't. I wouldn't throw any kind of shade at him. I think he's done a solid job considering that he's a backup. Yeah. He hasn't really played too much. To the best of my knowledge, I'm not a Ravens fan. I just like to watch a good game, and he's making it a good game.
I mean,
it's
that's
not like you're just crumbling under the pressure.
That's why you got a depth chart, right? I mean, you got your franchise guy, but then you got somebody who can hopefully step up and at least make an appearance.
Well, that's always the goal,
right?
But some of these dudes don't show up. and so, granted, I was a Giants fan, still am a Giants fan because it's New York at the end of the day, but my Jets aren't in there, so I'm rooting for the Giants. The Giants beat the Vikings earlier, and I'm very happy about that. So it's all about Big Blue is in the building, and we'll see how far they go. Hopefully all the way to the top.
Hopefully you heard that.
Yeah, I did. I heard boom.
There's background effects.
On my end. I got, I'm sipping a little bit of that Vino Tinto.
Oh, okay.
A little red wine.
What'd you just call me?
Red wine.
Yo. Offended. Offended.
I guess we just cut this off now.
Now I'm gonna be sipping on a little Jefferson's tonight.
Jefferson.
Little very small batch.
Yes, indeed.
They named it after the person who's about to consume it.
Well, you know what? At least you found something that matches.
I am this. You know what, man? I was going to talk about my height.
Snap! You know,
I am the smallest 6'2" man you'll ever meet. 220, swole, baby.
I'm
feeling good. I'm feeling good. I've got a little bit of a high right now. A little bit of a high.
Yeah. What's poor cat?
Well, the high is still from this morning, man. I went out. It was a beautiful day. And went out for a 3-mile run, and I just kind of it was one of those days where it just all kind of came together. I was jamming. Like I had some good tunes on, but stuff that I don't normally listen to, which actually inspired me. I sent you one of the tracks. Some Mozart. It wasn't classical today. Well, classic, not classical. I was listening to Dave Matthews. Just now, right. Growing up in Alabama, right? I mean, which is why I rock the houndstooth. Just to give a little backstory there. Paul Bear Bryant, houndstooth fedora. That was his infamous thing, and that's why Alabama adopted the houndstooth as part of their brand. But anyway, Dave Matthews was huge where I grew up, man. I love living to it, I love growing up to it and listening to it. And then today I was like, you know what? I need something chill, like, me, man. I'm normally like big room, ba da 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 da, like, let's go. Not today. Today it was like, it's kind of overcast. It was just kind of just cool enough. And I was like, what is going to match this vibe right now and just carry me through? And man, they were hitting all the greats, all the great Dave Matthews songs. It was just one after another. So I digress significantly just now. I don't know how I went from whiskey to Dave Matthews, but
I mean,
cheers.
What doesn't go well? Listen, indeed, come by.
See you in the morning.
Absolutely. I mean, what doesn't go perfectly? Like music and some whiskey.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good pairing at the end of the day. You know,
that guy right there. That guy.
And what is that? Which cigar are we?
This one. This is one you were very familiar with, but I already took the wrapper off. Otherwise, it'd be a dead giveaway. Right here. This is a Rocky Patel, The Edge.
Oh yeah, I had one of those earlier. I had the exact one earlier.
See, yep, I knew it. I knew you were familiar with these, so I'm excited. I'm gonna light this one up.
As you should. Yeah, it's 24-17 right now in this game. And God, you know, like these playoffs, they call it Super Wild Card Sunday. I'm like, whatever. They got to add super to it now. Like, give me a break. But they, the Jags yesterday. Yes, yeah, it was yesterday. That was a complete ass whooping. So I watched. I didn't watch anything. I looked on my phone, saw that it was the first half. It was 27-0, and I said, "We're done here." Threw my phone, didn't care. I get a text later on, and it shows it's a picture of the quarterback Lawrence, you know, the dude from Clemson, played over there.
Trevor,
the guys all Trevor Lawrence. And it's just like this picture of him, and he's at the post game. He's like smiling, and someone put like tattoos all over his face. And I was like, so I'm in my mind trying to like understand like what is going on. So I see tattoos on Trevor Lawrence's face. I'm like, gangster. Like in my mind, I'm thinking like, okay, so why I was like, oh, get out of here. Like, no. So I get it back on my phone, look at the score. These dudes done won. And I was like, Trevor Lawrence pulled it off. Like, get out of here. So last night I had to watch the highlights. And so that was a great game that I missed.
Came back from 27-0.
27.
That's some Tom Brady shit.
Oh, and so this is what they did. Like, it's exactly a Tom Brady move, right? And what they did with that, I got to find the pic. But it was all Charger colors, right? But they had an Atlanta Falcon, like their logo. On the wing, though, was a Charger bolt. And I was like, that's disrespectful, but it's very accurate. So I was like, I like that. That was good stuff. So yeah, it was a great game that I missed, and I was upset by that. So then today I'm watching, and like I said, the Giants won. And before that, who played before that? Oh, I don't remember who played. My memory's shot these days.
Unfortunately, my Sunday was not comprised of professional football watching.
Oh, well.
But you know what?
The Dolphins Bills. That was a good game too. Yeah.
Who won?
The Bills won. They pulled it out.
Damn.
So yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of tables that are smashed up in upstate New York right now. I can guarantee that.
Look, I hope we don't lose any followers from this statement, but I am not a Bills fan.
There's a lot of people who aren't Bills fans. That's a very small, not small, but like those fans for the most part are up there in Buffalo territory.
You know what? I should be more specific.
It's not like the Cowboys.
Yeah, I should be more specific. I'm not a Bills fan. I refer to them as those people. I know a handful of them, and we're not on the same. We're not on the same level. We're not in the same world. Not in the same atmosphere. Like I think that they had a little bit of a lack of oxygen to the brain when they were up in the womb. Like it just.
I mean, like, me being a Jets fan as I am and go pretty hard on the paint. Yeah, being the Bills, we bump heads all day. However, I got no beef with Bills fans. I think I love that they have such loyal fans, especially considering that they've never won a bowl or anything like that. But those fans go hard. They go super hard. So I like seeing that. I like people that are very into, like, that are kind of intense like that. Like Bills fans, Pittsburgh fans. Now, granted, Pittsburgh has a lot of Super Bowl wins, but I dig those fans. I like the loyalty.
Well, they're everywhere too, though. I mean, they are.
But once again, though, you're talking about a franchise that has the reputation to back. They can back it all up, But the Bills, it's like being a Cleveland fan, ride or die. I dig that. It's just like, you know what? When eventually you're gonna get yours. Eventually, you may not be alive to see it. Maybe nobody will be alive to see it, but you're gonna get yours. And I love that. That people keep showing it. Detroit Lions, another team that they played well this year. They played really, really well this year. I think they're just missing a couple pieces. Now, I think we're on the bubble.
What is the Lions game? The Thanksgiving game? Who do they play every Thanksgiving?
Oh, was it the Lions and Vikings, something like that? Some NFC teams have some big rivalry.
Yeah, but it like the Lions. Is it the Lions or Vikings that have just like virtually never won that game in particular?
Oh, don't even give me the Lions. I don't know.
Yeah,
no pun intended.
I just thought it was interesting because I think this year, like whoever it was, maybe it was the Lions were playing. Maybe it was the Lions that have never beat the Vikings on Thanksgiving. I don't know, but
that might be the case because
please, someone put in the comments, educate us.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys are full of shit.
Yeah. But they were supposed to win, and I think they were playing really well. And then whoever it was, just choked. I think. I don't know. Whatever.
I didn't even watch the game. I didn't even watch the game really, just because. Yeah, I just didn't watch it.
I should educate myself on these things.
It was these playoffs have been pretty good, so I've been digging them. So yeah, tomorrow is the Bucks and Dallas. That should be a battle. It should be a battle. Whenever you got Tom Brady playing, it's gonna be a battle.
Mm-hmm.
So, but Dallas, I think, is expected to win. But the way these playoffs have been going, it's anybody's. Which is I love. I love how I remember in the 90s. It just wasn't very competitive. That without the salary cap, all the talent was going to the Cowboys, Niners, the usuals. But now, with the talent spread across the entire league, the way that it is, I mean, it's gotten better over the years, better. But now it's like anybody can win. There's talent all over the place, which I love it. I love it. So as this kind of fades out and football comes to an end. My glorious NCAA hoops, and they're just getting hotter and hotter and hotter.
I'm excited for March Madness, although I don't think I'm gonna fucking play with you again this year. Cheating ass.
Hey, listen, I can't. How can I cheat when I made my picks? Well,
you know what? The thing is, what upsets me is that I don't know how you cheated, and you were sitting right next to me. You were sitting right next to me. You could have picked any team, and somehow you picked the ones that I'm like, I don't even know if I've ever heard of that school before. You're like, yo, Cinderella all day long. Ooh, whatever the fuck it is you're always saying. Yeah, sucker.
You already know.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. It's going to be good. Sports is, I mean, and even now, I'm getting more and more World Cup is over. World Cup was my addiction. It always is. Every 4 years is my addiction. I lose my mind. I love watching it. And now I'm trying to, because with the time zone difference and all that, it's hard to keep up with it. Right now, the Premier League is going right now. I've been catching the scores on my phone and whatnot, but they're going to have Champions League and all that. And it's intense watching soccer too. There's nonstop entertainment all the time, with sports. I think that the dry season for me is the summer. Because basketball's over, football's over, even hockey's over. So you got like tennis and golf. And I'm kind of like, ugh.
That's good. That's good though.
MLS kicks in though.
That's good though for guys like us though, man. I mean, that's you know, get the fuck outside. Go do something with your life, you know. Go to the beach. Go to the river.
I don't do the beach.
You know what? You're not helping my point right now. All right.
So this is what I do when that's dry season for that. What I have that kicks into gear in March is MotoGP. Love me some MotoGP. That's my addiction. And luckily, I don't have to commit too much time to it. It's just a weekend, similar to football. Sunday is race day. But I start watching on Friday because that's when they're doing like the practice. Saturday, they do the qualifying, and then Sunday is race day. So that becomes my addiction come March. So now I'm having to juggle, but I can watch that on demand like whenever I want. I don't have to catch that live.
Yeah.
I don't have to wake up super early morning necessarily. I got that. Formula One is another thing I like to watch. Now, granted, I just watch the race. I don't do all the practice and everything else. I don't have that kind of time. But I try to catch it when I'm like down.
Mm-hmm.
So it's nice that, the MotoGP Formula One that ends October, November, early November. And then I could just focus on like football. And then basketball kicks in. When NCAA is over, like I said, it flows right into MotoGP all month. And then it just starts all over again. I'm just like, oh my God. So
that's a good point.
It's just great to be a sports fan in general.
Oh, you're right.
Enjoy competition. It's awesome.
Well, not to mention the leisurely sports, right? And I'm talking about like come March time, you and I typically hit the streets too. I mean, we got bike month, on our cruisers, we go out. So we're not just sitting on a couch watching everybody else have fun. We actually go out and get after it. So
yeah. There's no reason to be bored in this world, and I think it's a gift and it's a curse because you can easily just zone out and get nothing done and watch everybody else have a great time and get paid while you're kind of like just great watching other people have a good time and get paid. When you're not at work, so it's nice. It's definitely nice to have that balance. But yeah, because this is like probably the most football I've watched in a few years now.
Mm-hmm.
Where I can just sit and just watch games. Usually, like, I'm missing them. So the fact that I'm home and the games are on, and I could just sit, I have like nothing going on right now. I can just enjoy the games. It's been very nice. Very nice.
Sounds nice.
Watch 3 games back to back to back to back. So I'm taking full advantage. It's raining. It's another reason for me to not be outside, which I love. And I dig the rain too because it gives me an excuse to stay home. I love it. I love it.
As you can see, I'm actually at home today, which is nice. Versus episode 2, I was in a hotel room. But I leave. I think I leave in 2 days. Be gone for about a week. So
yeah, that'll be me come next Friday.
Yeah.
But yeah. So what are we getting into today?
Well, here's something that we discussed briefly earlier, but just keeping in the realm of sports. I know there's a lot of controversy over this Dana White stuff. So where are you at on that? Before I share my thoughts,
I think
which part?
It's sad.
Yeah.
So granted, I was at the gym and I saw this. Then I came home and kind of watched like the video and whatnot. And I think I don't know what caused the Dana White to basically kind of mush or slap whatever you want to call it, his wife in public the way that he did. That is never cool. I don't know what she said to him. Like that's never. And the thing about it, however that came to be, I don't put all of it on him. Whatever she said was probably completely like provoked him on some level, perhaps. But he should have. It's hard when you're Dana White status. You got to really kind of check yourself.
You do.
You do doing moves like that.
100%. So let me.
However,
okay, go ahead.
So this is my issue with it, right? All right. So as I was reading, I started seeing because the thing is, instantly when I saw that video, like a lot of other people did, and I was kind of like, wow, right? So this happened. A similar incident happened in the past with Ray Rice, the running back or former running back of the Baltimore Ravens. Similar video. Got caught him and shit. He like straight cold cocked his wife. In the elevator. I was like, oh wow, it's crazy. That happened to him. Guy lost his entire career over that. We haven't seen him since. I haven't heard nothing about him, and honestly, I hope he's doing well and all that. I hope they worked it all out. But I guess the issue that I have, right? So Dana White was like, hey, this is a family matter. Basically like it's mind your own business, talking about, the media and all that. His wife was just like, yo, same. Like, hey, like, this is an isolated incident, no big deal. Like, let us handle our own family issues and stay out of it. He's not going to hang for this, I don't think.
No,
he
won't.
And I guess this is like the issue that I have is that Ray Rice lost everything off of that incident. They went after him, all that stuff. And Dana White, and I dig Dana White too, but it's not going to affect him in the same way.
So
probably mainly because he's like an owner or whatnot. So the thing about it though is that whether right or wrong, all that good stuff in terms of whether he stays or goes, the problem that people were having, and I see their point, is that it's just not the same. The repercussions weren't the same for the two. So now this is where people, right? You get people out there that say there's a disparity in terms of treatment when it comes to black folks, white folks, the whole privilege thing, right? Where it's just like, you could do the same thing, but he kind of walks off and just kind of like, not to say it's like no big deal, but like, once again, the repercussions aren't the same. Ray Rice loses his entire NFL career. Nobody even touches him. Now, I highly doubt the UFC is going to take that big of a hit because of this, But this is when people start talking about like how it's not fair, how it's not the same. It's shit like this is what people are talking about, And then you got stuff like that happening, and then like BLM founder's cousin gets tasered to death like the same day, or a couple days later. All these things are happening in the world, and it sucks, man.
So
sucks.
I certainly, as you might expect, have an opinion on all
Absolutely.
this. So let me go on a bit of a diatribe here, right? A bit of a rant. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Here's after watching the video, this is, and I thought the same thing. Ray Rice, Will Smith slapping Chris Rock. I'll bring that into the mix here in a minute too, right? So first of all, I'll start with that. Ray Rice, if we're talking about black versus white, Ray Rice, black guy, Will Smith, black guy. Will Smith is not going to lose his fucking career. Now, is that because he slapped another black man? I don't know. But let me paint the picture for you, okay?
Okay.
And I'm gonna ask you a question. How many black running backs are there in the NFL?
It's like damn near every team.
Yeah.
32.
So and this is not me being discriminatory whatsoever, right? This is just me painting my picture. If one of those black running backs goes out and commits a crime, whatever, robs a fucking bank, I don't care, gets hammered and wrecks a fucking Ferrari. I think that happened recently too, right? Okay. His team might suffer for a couple games, but they'll find someone else. The NFL as an organization is not going to suffer because one person fucked up, right? So Dana White, how many Dana Whites are there running the UFC? Only one. Only one, right? Dana White is Dana White is Dana White. So sure. the entire UFC industry takes a hit if they lose Dana White. So I don't think it's necessarily a black versus white thing. It's the same thing as like Will Smith. Will Smith is not going to lose his entire career over that because Will Smith is in of himself. He is his own brand. He is his own mega monster in Hollywood. You cannot replace Will Smith. He may come out and give an apology just like Dana White did, and as far as the Dana White thing goes, and this is probably not going to be popular amongst the female listeners, but watching the video, one, they're in a nightclub. So I'm going to assume they're under some sort of influence, maybe multiple. Okay. He walks up to her. She's clearly already upset about something. Now, I don't know what he said when he walks up to her, but she turns around, gets in his face a little bit, and she smacks him first. Now, as a man who for a fact does not like being touched in the face, if I'm under some sort of influence, right, which is making me not think clearly, and someone, my wife or whoever, comes at me in a hostile manner and puts hands on me, and I react, I'm not saying it's right. I'm not justifying his actions per se, But I also can't say that I wouldn't necessarily do the same thing instinctually, right?
No doubt.
So, you know.
But so, now granted, the thing is about the same thing happened with Ray. You watch that video, his wife smacked him up a little bit. He kind of reached his point, and he reacted the same way.
But again, it's easier for the NFL to just kick him to the curb because they got $1 million of him.
True. But does it mean that, once again, like it's you, regardless of the fact, if Dana White, he might be the only one, but does he just get off scot-free? You can't, what are we going to do to him? You see what I'm saying? Like why, like I said, the repercussions on sin. You look at some of these guys, like a Kevin Spacey even, right? He had something that happened to him in like 30, 40 years ago, whatever, at the time, whatever. And I haven't seen him since when the whole, Me Too thing was going on. And he was a brand too. You're talking about a great actor as well. He was on some Will Smith stuff. He was all over the place. Gone.
Yeah.
Now Will Smith, how he bounces back, I do not know. I just saw he's in this new flick, Emancipation. Granted, I think he's going to still keep getting work. But once again, he slapped another man in honor of his wife. Some people could feel one way or the other with that. A lot of people don't feel one way or the other with a husband slapping the shit out of his wife on camera.
I don't think it's ever called for. Like right. I think it's completely inappropriate. Look, here's the thing, right? And you can quote me on this all day long, and I'll defend it until I can't defend it anymore, and then I'll reconsider, right? But as of right now, if my wife slapped me in public, I definitely believe that if you were, as a woman, right, going back to a different episode, right, talking about equality and head of household alphas, stuff like that, whatever. If you think you're tough enough to put hands on a man, you better be tough enough to accept hands from a man. Now, again, I'm not saying it's right, and I would never hit my wife, right? Now, I know a minute ago that I said like instinctually, because I can't predict the future. I don't know. But in my mind, I think if that ever happened, because let's say maybe something similar to this has happened to me in the past, not with my wife, but with someone else, I would walk away. I would remove myself from the situation. But you don't know that situation. I don't mean you. I mean everyone. You weren't. Yeah. We weren't there, right? So, I think this is less of a. This is just me. I think it's less of a Ray Rice being a black man, and Dana White being a white dude conflict. I think it's more of a position of power, right? The NFL as a franchise does not suffer by getting rid of Ray Rice. In fact, they invite more criticism if they keep him. The UFC as a franchise, because it's Dana White's franchise, suffers because his employees suffer. I mean, he said that in the interview. He goes, what does it do if I take a 30-day leave of absence? Other than everything, it doesn't do anything to him. But everyone that looks to him to lead that effort now has to figure it out on their own for 30 days.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like the show's not going to stop because that happened. Like it's just not going to stop. Yes, he's Dana White. He is the owner. That's like getting Goodell. I'm no longer going to be. The NFL is going to keep going. He's going to stay in his position, but it's the outrage that came with it. I watched that Ray Rice mess for days and days, weeks. People talking about that incident, and granted, he just wanted to kind of just dead it. Like, hey, listen, this is a domestic issue between me and my wife. Da 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 da. I don't know. Even back then, I was like, the NFL to basically his career was ruined over a domestic. This is happening not just with Ray Rice. It just happened to get caught on camera. Not saying that's right. Listen, in terms of that, with my own daughter, I tell her, I'm like, listen, if you're going to hit somebody, expect to get hit back. Like, you can't sit there and just be laying hands on people and think there's no repercussions for your actions. Like, I don't care if it's guy, girl, keep your hands to yourself, first and foremost. Or, yeah, you might get popped right back. And you can't be mad at that. You can't be like, oh, you hit me. Keep your hands to yourself. Like that. That's just, for me, that's where I grew up. I can't be putting hands on anybody expecting not to get touched. And I told her that early in the game. She wants to come behind me and pow, hit me. I was like, pow, I'll chop her real quick. She's like, hey, keep your hands to yourself. And so in the world, though, it's not going to be like this little love tap. Bow. They might take you out altogether. You have no idea what people are on or where they're at mentally. So I don't know. Like it's this weird place because, White's not gonna he's not gonna punish himself. He can be like, yeah, I'll take a 30-day sabbatical. I'll see you guys in 30 days. It's just he can do whatever he wants.
So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
How does this situation go down? How does it turn out if it wasn't on camera and not in a public forum? Like, so Ray Rice's thing,
it goes away.
That wasn't in
Ray
public.
Rice doesn't lose his career.
But Ray Rice,
it was caught on camera. It was in a public camera. That's how they caught it. That's how they found it.
Right, but it wasn't public. It wasn't in the public eye. It was in an elevator, right?
It was in an elevator until it got out.
Yes, until it got out. So if it doesn't get recorded, it becomes a he said, she said marital dispute. Now that gets handled. That gets handled exactly. It gets handled the same way any other marital dispute gets handled.
But you talking about public opinion crucified him. Just like the same thing, like the racist billionaire that owned the Clippers, right? That girl had some audio about how he felt about black folks, and that dude he left his position, and then they put it basically on auction, and then somebody else purchased that franchise. Granted, this isn't going to happen to Dana White, but this is when you get the public involved, they are the judge, jury, and executioner. And then, like I said, with Ray Rice, it forced, they basically put pressure on the NFL to do something. And the Ravens didn't. It's not like, and the Ravens were kind of like, everyone's trying to distance themselves, and especially at that time. At that time, it was just, you're talking about just bad timing.
Well, this isn't even like
everything that was happening.
This isn't even
way more.
It's not even a court case, though. It's not like Supreme Court. This isn't like Johnny Depp and his, crazy ass ex-wife type of shit. You know what I mean? Like, right. That's insane in the public eye, whatever else. Like this is, I guarantee, I could be wrong. I don't know Dana White. I don't know his wife. I don't know Ray Rice. I don't know his wife. I have to imagine for that level of interaction to go down like it did, I'm going to go out on a limb and guess probably not the first time. It's just probably the first time
caught on camera.
Right.
Absolutely.
So then TMZ gets a hold of it, the media, social media, it gets blown, maybe not out of proportion, but first and foremost, what happens between a husband and a wife, most of which
in the house.
Should stay in the house. Now, if this is a one-sided physical abusive type of thing, so the party getting abused needs to walk. They need to get out and go be in a safe environment.
Easier said than done, right?
Oh, 100%.
Because let's say if you are a housewife and you've been with this dude who's now a baller, he's making millions and millions of dollars, he's been taking care of you, and this is like the life that you're living. I mean, and granted, I've never been in this position. I have no idea, but I know folks who have been in this position, and their logic was, if I leave, then what? I lose everything, and that's a reason for them to stay, or it's not something that happens on a frequent basis, but when we both maybe have too much, we're both under the influence of whatever, it becomes a thing from time to time. I'm not saying like none of this stuff is right. I guess, and when it comes down to it, like you got a lot of self-righteous individuals out there in the world who say, oh, you can't do that, you shouldn't do that. And they're doing the exact same damn thing at home in their own way, but because it's not them who's under scrutiny, they feel like they can insert their opinions about it and say what should and shouldn't happen to these individuals. Oh, and then they're in an uproar.
I couldn't even tell you how many times I've witnessed people be, like legitimately witnessed, like, oh my gosh, I would never put my hands on my man, and then turn around and just in front of God and everybody who was present at that house party, just verbally destroy that man, or vice versa. Mm-hmm. He's like, I would never put my hands on a woman, and then turn around and just emotionally beat the shit out of their significant others. Yeah, I don't think any of it's okay. I really don't, man.
None. But you know what though? Like it's people swear up and down like it's like confrontation, that these things that happen between men and women, like it's not supposed to happen. It doesn't happen. A guy shouldn't do this, that. Like listen, like life is what it is. Like people, if it's to be, you shouldn't, granted, like I said, if we're talking equality stuff, then you should be able to take a hit. That's the case. Like because if we're talking like with a guy and a guy, man interaction, right? If a guy puts his hands on me, I'm probably gonna try to murder you. But for me, I'm seeing like now if we're the same, right? If we're the same, that reaction to a woman is legal. If we're the same, we are not. We are not, and you shouldn't be doing these things to females. A big grown ass man, So here's a question that I've been asking, and I really don't know the answer. If you have I
can't wait.
If you have a man who identifies as a woman, crosses over, gets the transitions over to being a woman, right? You're out in the world, feeling this kind of way, and you bump into said woman, and maybe you, as a guy, you see, oh, it's a big, in your mind, you're like, oh, it's a dude, and that's how you're thinking, right? You never met this person. Hello. Oh, snap. What's happening, man? Say something like that. He's like, oh man, I'm a female. Oh, snap, my bad, whatever. But like, say like that person doesn't take it well, starts getting amped. Maybe the drugs aren't kicking in. I have no idea, but like testosterone starts coming in, people start getting upset.
There's a 5 o'clock like, shadow in an Adam's apple.
I'm just saying, I don't know, right? But say that individual bucks up on you. Now, everything in your soul tells you this is a grown ass man. If that person puts hands on you, do those same rules apply in terms of you hitting a female? Do you let this woman beat the shit out of you with that type of brute force that comes from a man, or do you defend yourself the way a guy would defend himself against another man?
Look, a few years ago I ended up in a pretty critical condition because I did not fight back when a dude, to be clear, who was a dude who identified as a dude, put hands on me. I was concerned about my career, at the time, and what it looked like if I hit back, right? If I took a swing at this dude, what was going to happen, right? So I was super concerned about that, and for that reason and that reason alone, I defended myself in the form of backing up. I kind of put my hands in front of my face a little bit to stop, the blows from coming, but I should have physically defended myself a little bit more. I should have been more aggressive. And instead of being defensive, I should have been offensive, because maybe it would have stopped sooner, and maybe I would have ended up in the ICU for 5 nights. Right. So as far as that goes, I'm going to go back on what I said earlier, go back to what I said earlier, not go back on, go back to what I said earlier. If somebody puts hands on me, I don't care if it's a woman, a dude that identifies as a woman, a post-op, a pre-op, fucking whatever. If you put hands on me, I will never again not defend myself. And when it comes out, I'm going to look at the witnesses, and I'm going to hope that people are being honest and go, yep, this, person B, put hands on me, person A, and he started by defending himself, and then it seemed like he got to a point where he needed to end it, right? So, and I think there's a point, right? My dad raised me. He goes, "Don't ever start a fight, but you make sure you end it. Make sure you end it, right?" So now, that being said, if you're there, I'm just going to tap you in. Salt, I just got bitch slapped by a post-op. What are you going to do about it?
Hey, this, granted, like I have no problem. I hope to never be in. I don't get into this types of battles. Like I just don't have the patience, the time. But things have happened, and I've had to go there with folks. But the times that a female, born female, has gotten in my face, I have never gotten to that point. Now, granted, I'll probably wrap you up and squeeze the shit out of you before you and basically take the fight out of you, or I'll sit on you. I've had to do that, I'm just like, yo, are you done? Are you finished? And then they're kind of like burnt out. But for me to get to the point where I'm like slapping around, like for me, I'm like, granted, that's just me.
Well,
that's just me.
Well,
I'm not gonna sit there and talk for anybody else out there because everybody has their own style, how they handle business. And like I said, once again, I'm not saying that's wrong, but like the reaction to me is a normal reaction. You know, like, I don't think it's right. I think I think that people, the way that, you know, like I said, the way I'm raising my daughter, if you put your hands on someone, expect to get touched back. I think people have this, it should not be allowed where a woman feels that she can just hit on someone and it's okay. Why that's not being taught the same way a man is taught, do not ever put your hands on a woman. She shouldn't be putting her hands on him. Simple as that. Keep your hands to your damn self, everybody.
I agree.
Then you don't have to worry about this situation. Now, granted, I don't know the story behind all this other stuff, but usually you just see the guy hit the woman. But nobody, you know, maybe, like you said, you saw the video, his wife hit him first. So,
but she also,
why does the guy have to be so disciplined and have to restrain himself in that way, but she can just offload?
I'll say this, and again, we could go rounds and rounds on this, and maybe 100%. We will continue. So let's go back to keeping it in the UFC boxing, right? There's weight classes for a reason, right? You don't put a 220-pound man, right, like me or you, up against a 120-pound featherweight. You know what I mean? 140-pound featherweight, because that 140-pound featherweight, as good as they may be, you know, they may be faster, but they catch one blow from you or I, and they're they're done. Night. Yeah. That's it. The game's over, right? So I think perhaps if I'm looking at it from that vantage point, he should have shown restraint, because it's not like she was waylaying on him. She smacked him in the face one time. You know, he could have walked away. He could have backed up. Now, has she grabbed a Magnum bottle of Ace of Spades champagne and come at him with that? Maybe wrap her up, get her to stop, call security. I don't know. But to go back to your point, you know, half an hour ago, he is a man in the public eye constantly. He has to show restraint. And I guarantee Ray Rice, as unfortunate as it is that he lost his career, you know, I have no idea how much larger of a man he was than his wife. But if he's a running back in the NFL, he's a big fucking dude. Yeah.
That guy was a monster. He was a great running back. He's a big dude. Dana White's not some little guy either. You know, I'm sure he fought. You know, he's a big dude too. I don't know, it's a delicate topic because you know, people talk about how things are fair and not fair. This is one of the things that this is in this situation, it's in favor of women. You know, which no doubt it should be. You know, but it's not. It's very gray in that situation. You know, where, you know, if I'm being poked, like my sister always says, because I remember I watched the whole Ray Rice thing with my sister. She's like, you know what? She shouldn't have poked the bear. Like, this is understood. Like, with a lot of people understand, like, you don't do that, you know, and women know this, you know, but sometimes they like to poke the bear. And then you get these situations where they kind of tested that fence. They're like, oh, snap, like that was not the reaction I thought I was going to get. Or maybe it was, I don't know. But they kind of like know that they could push somebody to that extent, which sucks. Because once again, like, who has that type of monk discipline to just allow, and especially with all the pressure that's going on.
You know what? That brings up an excellent point. Who has the discipline to allow? Okay, what does that mean, right? So let's flip that a little bit. Okay, you and I roll into a nightclub. We're in a back corner somewhere, whatever, VIP section, right? It's a little bit more secluded, maybe. Couple of tables, whatever. There's a very obvious, let's call it 6'2", post-op, fully committed transvestite, whatever. I don't know what all the different terms are for all the different things, but born a dude, identifies as a woman, has gone through, gotten everything lopped off, has implants to look like a woman, but is obviously a 6'2", 220-pound man, or used to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
Identifies as a woman. We're chilling at a table. We're sipping on something. And you see this, I'm going to call it a person, right? I'm going to call it person B. Okay. Person B, being the post-op, getting into a dispute with person A, who is a female, born a female, identifies as a female, weighs about 120 pounds. So person B has 100 pounds on this female, gets upset. One of the two throws a drink in the other one's face, whatever it may be, and person B reaches back and slaps the living Jesus out of person A. 100 pounds extra. And you and I are watching this. We know person A, 120-pound female, is about to get destroyed. What do we do?
Yeah.
Do we have... Him. You get... Yes.
That's as simple as that. No, and the thing about it, not necessarily to fuck person B up.
No.
Not necessarily. But I will separate because I know that I can do that. And I will do that. And if you get in my face now and you put hands on me, I'm going to handle you. Simple as that. You know what I'm saying? Now, you should, but the fact that there's other people, I'm not saying dudes or whatever, because if there's two females kind of scrapping, I'm like, yo, hey, chill out. You know, like I would prefer the peace before it gets escalated. Now, granted, it has been escalated, but if we can stomp it out like quickly, and I'm talking stomp it out in terms of like the violence, right? Just squash that. I would prefer that. But if you get in my face,
yeah,
and I'm telling you, like, hey, like I need you to chill. Like I hear you. You start taking swings at me, and I'm registering what I'm registering in terms of 228 pounds. You were born, you came into this world something else, and you think that you're going to do that to me. You have another thing coming.
Right.
Because I'm going to, now you talk about instinctual, right? My thing is, I want her, she needs to be not necessarily rescued, but she needs to be assisted. You know what I'm saying? If I see any female out there getting done like that in public, I'm going to be like, granted, I hate inserting myself in other people's business, especially if it's a couple, something like that. That's just not, I'm not the dude who runs around saving folks all day. It's just not my style.
True.
I'm just kind of like, you know what? I don't know what's going on in that. And I think you guys should work it out. Now, if you're disturbing my peace, I might say, hey, like, go home or go take that somewhere else, something like that. But if she's like, yo, like, I need help, then I feel borderline obligated to now have to insert myself. And just, once again, hopefully you guys can calm down and talk reasonably with one another. We've been in a situation like that before in the past where two people get each other's face and we had to separate the two. Mm-hmm. There was no violence, right? But now with there's strength in numbers, whether, we can come to whoever's aid, it doesn't matter, male, female, but like other people's being inserted now, kind of like people become more cautious, conscious of what's going on. And they're like, okay, you know what? Like, this is no longer between she and I. We got other people now that are in our business. So no, for me, I'm going to defend her because she, whatever the situation is, she's going to possibly get murdered by this individual if they're going to go all in on her. Especially like I said, if we're going to brawl like that, like, then you can't, you just can't do that.
So here's what I think is fucked up. Because we could be the good Samaritans all day long. Unfortunately, as we just discussed, when things are caught on camera, we could intervene. And this could be a 220-pound man, whooping up on his girlfriend, whatever. You get involved, he turns on us, you beat the shit out of him, because, whatever, he put hands on you first. Like, it really comes down to honestly, at that point, it'll come down to the courts, because people are going to be like, oh, why did you get involved? It's like, people are borderline, I think, afraid to get involved because they're afraid that they're going to catch more, put on charges, get more ridicule and stuff like that. Well, it wasn't your place. It wasn't my place to keep him from beating the shit out of someone else or keep person B, from the story earlier, from beating the shit out of person A. Like, I didn't put hands on a woman. Yes, I did. Actually, you know what? I walked up behind him. I wrapped him up, pulled him away from each other. Security's on the other side of the club or whatever else. Or maybe it's not a club. Maybe there is no in-house security. Maybe you're just out in public somewhere and you got to wait on the cops to show up. You know, someone needs to stop that current violent interaction. Period. Fucking dot. Like, that's it. It has to be stopped, whatever it is. And if you're going in with the intention, mind you, people don't understand that word. People don't like to look at the intent. They like to look at the dramatic appeal that the media can bite off of and make anybody look bad, which is bullshit. You know, I mean, if you and I are out and we pull person B off of person A, they're going to go, oh, there's these two white, one black heterosexual males that clearly are homophobic. And so they beat up this, you know, post-op transvestite in a nightclub. No, we pulled the transvestite person off of this little female that they were having a spat with because, first of all, nothing should ever get violent. It just shouldn't. Physical violence is not needed. That's my stance. Like, I think if you can't talk it out, fucking go your separate ways. Because getting physical, all it does is it proves an immediate dominance in the moment and a long-term ignorance. Because you ran out of words to say, and so you resorted to a more animalistic form of, well, let's sort this out to prove who I am over you. Now, that being said, there are certain situations that we have both been privy to where things need to happen. There's a pecking order, and maybe it went there, and it was what it was, and it got handled in-house. There was no cops, there was no security, there was no social media or whatever else involved. And if that kind of thing happens and you come out of it, you know, if you and I, God forbid, ever went, you know, blow for blow, like, fuck you, no, fuck you, over some stupid shit, I guarantee the next day we'd pour each other a whiskey and be like, that was fucking dumb. Yeah. Right? You know, didn't need to go there, but we went there. Doesn't mean we can't move on from it. You know, hopefully we can grow from it, I guess is my point, but it doesn't need to go that far.
You know, it's tough, man. When you got emotions going crazy and people aren't thinking straight and people want to prove that point, right? I mean, if I'm seeing red and I'm like in straight battle mode, I'm not trying to hear reason at this point. You know, I just want to inflict some type of damage, whether it be physical, you know, mental, you know what I mean? Whatever. Like, I'm just trying to, like, I need you to hear me on every level, you know, but it's tough, man. It's tough when it comes to all that. Like, it's human nature, I think, to be like that. You know, you're talking, we live in this very domesticated world, especially when, and you know, it's just like, I think there's a lot of pent up anger in folks anyway. You can't really express yourself sometimes just because you have to be like, everyone's playing this disciplined game. Everyone's having to watch their mouth. Don't say that. Well, I didn't know I couldn't say that. And now you're just like, okay, well, what do I say? Now you're spending more time being frustrated in terms of what words can be used out here in the world because maybe you didn't know, or whatever the case might be, that the English language is being chopped. It's getting smaller, where we have to front like we're nice to everybody. And that's just not the reality at all.
Look at it on a worldview. I'll define it like this, not to cut you off. I'm sorry, but when diplomacy ends, war begins. Absolutely. When diplomacy ends, war begins. Like that is on an international level. I mean,
that's not like on a human level though. I think that's just what it is. Yeah. Like people beef. Like period dot. Like people beef. Fuck you. Case closed. You know? And if you don't like that and you come back to me with that aggression, it has to be handled on that way, in that way. You know, like people are going to beef. Now, granted, I don't think you have to go and pop the trunk and start blasting folks. I think that sucks because there's no coming back from that. But that's just, people lose they blow their tops and they get pissed. You know, I mean, you want to talk about some nature stuff that happens on a regular basis. But, you know, we swear up and down we're like better than a lot of these other animals running around this world when we're not. And we're seeing this like on a regular basis. You know, people don't like, you know, like it's just how people function. It is what it is.
Well, it depends on
you're not going to stamp it out.
Yeah, depends on what level you're on too, man. I mean, I've been in situations where I've had these conversations with folks, you know, some family members, friends, whatever. And I had a friend of mine. I'll just call them friends, right? I had a person that used to be in my life come to me and was very upset about the person he was living with. He's like, I don't get it, man. They just, they freak out because, I'll leave a dish in the sink. I'm like, all right. And I'm kind of going off on a tangent right now, but you'll get my point. I'm like, okay, they're upset that you do your fucking dishes. He's like, no, but you don't understand, man. Like, I think so much bigger, like we're in the world that I live in, like a dish in the sink is not everything. I'm like, maybe to you, a dish in the sink isn't everything, but maybe to them, their OCD pings. Maybe it's animosity from you leaving your shit all over the place all the time, whatever it may be. And that builds up in this other person's head to the point that they blow their top over something stupid. We know that the little things add up to be big things, right? So, yeah. But that person's world may be very much like, first of all, the friend that came up to me was renting a room in this other person's house. So it was their house.
Their rules.
Right? Their house, their rules. Now, the person that owned the house never left the house. Their house, that house was their world. See what I'm saying? So a dirty dish in the sink of someone who their house is their world because, they don't get out for whatever reason, like that's their jam. That means a lot to them, to you and I, if I leave a dish in your sink, you're like, all right, whatever, on to the next, like bigger issues, right? Much bigger issues to worry about. But you got to, I mean, what is it? They always say like, somebody blows their lid or something like that, whatever, like they lose their shit. You have no right to judge them because you have no idea what they've been going through. You know what I mean? Yeah. You have no idea what got them to that point. So, I mean,
so you shouldn't take nothing personal. It's one of the 4 agreements.
Yeah. Don't take anything personal, man. Like just look, one, take ownership, don't come
that
to me.
Doesn't apply these days.
Don't come to me bitching about the fact that, you got chewed on, by your landlord because you left some dirty dishes and they're your fucking dishes. Do the goddamn dishes, then you don't get chewed on. Like that's easy. That's a simple transaction. It's an understanding. Take personal responsibility for your own shit, and then 99% of your problems go away. Mm-hmm. Don't blame other people for your shit.
That doesn't apply these days. There is no accountability, self-accountability. It's always somebody else's fault. That's something that they've basically have hammered all day long into people's minds these days, which is why people just do. And they're like, well, I didn't think anything's supposed to happen to me. This is why I think it's necessary for an ass whooping. That's just my point of view. Like if people knew that if they were to say certain things, there's no consequences at all. It's just people out there just doing whatever because you can't touch them because people are shook these days.
Well,
the thing is, somebody and put them in their place where it's like you shouldn't ever be speaking, like at all. You're not in a position to say nothing, and people like you. And the thing is, like everyone has a voice. Like okay, whatever. You know what? Some people need to just shut the fuck up. That's just it.
Not everyone should have a voice. Not everyone. Not in my opinion. Not everyone has earned the right to open their fucking mouth.
No.
Okay,
not everybody cares what you got going on.
Especially about topics you know nothing fucking about. If you ever hear running your fucking mouth just to get attention, I'm sorry, I said that wrong. If you ever hear running your mouth, thinking that your opinion is going to be heard, but you're talking about something of which you have no personal experience, you need to shut the fuck up. Like you have no business talking at that point. Especially if you're sitting here trying to argue with someone who is just in that situation. Mm-hmm. You've never been in that situation. You can, if they're coming to you for comfort, you can comfort someone. You can be empathetic, but don't sit here and try to chastise someone or point fingers at somebody for doing something, whatever it is, right? I mean, a million examples come to mind.
Absolutely. And that's the thing about it. You're talking about like, it's once again, it's an opinion. So, you can voice your opinion. It doesn't mean shit to me if I don't care about your opinion. Like I appreciate it, I guess, or I just don't. You can miss me with your opinion. I'm going to go do whatever I'm going to go do anyway. But just because you have said something does not mean I have to internalize it and think that's the gospel and run with it. I don't care. So now you're giving me unsolicited advice or whatever the case might be, and you wonder why people are barking back. Like, if your voice should be heard, then fine. And I can completely ignore it because I don't care. I don't care about your opinion. And if it isn't relevant, it's going to just bounce off me like you never even said it anyway. So just go somewhere. Now, if you start harping on it, now I'm going to give you my opinion. Now, when I give you my opinion, you cannot sit there and be like, oh, no, you get to hear my side of the story, or you can also just walk off. But there's no, you get to say what you get to say to me. I'm supposed to just sit there and just take it. Like, that's just, because you are who to me.
It's the same thing as putting hands on somebody. Right?
100%.
If you're going to put your hands on somebody else, expect to have them put their hands on you. If you're going to sit here and run your mouth to somebody, if they don't like it, they're going to bite back. Now, some of us may handle it slightly more diplomatically, but I'll tell you, here's the extent of my diplomatic approach. If I don't like what you had to say, I'll tell you, and I'll say it in a calm manner. I will tell you respectfully, like, this is how I feel about what you just said. Completely disagree for reasons A, B, and C. And if you continue to stick to your point, I'm walking away. And if that means I'm walking away from you in the moment, good. I might just walk away from you in life.
100%.
I don't need, look, man,
Wow.
I heard this quote the other day, and God, it couldn't be more relevant to me right now. I have enough friends. I don't need more friends, and I certainly don't need more people's approval, right? I'm not perfect, but I have an inner circle that includes, people like you, my wife, and several of our other friends that I hold very near and dear, and I cherish their opinion. So I know for a fact, and I'll use you as the example because you're here, right? If you're like, Joe, that was kind of fucked up, I'm going to probably take that to heart. I'm going to take that really, really hard. If you're like, Joe, that was kind of fucked up, right? And I'm not going to ghost you because of that. I'm going to go, shit, I need to do some reflecting. What I did was fucked up. But if some third party's like, what you did is fucked up, first of all, I don't fucking know you.
Yeah, there's no respect, there's no rapport there. No.
I don't need your opinion, nor did I ask for opinion. Get the fuck out of here, right? Mm-hmm. Don't try to affect my life when I'm not doing anything to change yours. I'm not doing anything to affect yours, so leave me alone, right? So the big takeaway from me is social media as a whole, getting back on the Dana White thing, media just in general, back the fuck off. Let them handle their shit. Their problems are not our problems, but we're blowing it up as if it's everyone should be involved here. The only people that can handle the problem between Dana White and his wife is Dana White and his wife. No one else's opinion fucking matters.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you would hope. But like I said, it's just not, it's not going to happen. I think people are going to say what they got to say, but like I said, the repercussions are just not going to be, like, the standards, it's been set, but it's not going to apply in this situation. It's just not.
Agreed. So
no, it's just not.
So looking at the time, let me leave you with this, because I heard this earlier.
That was quick.
It was quick. It was let's see if I can even get it out without fucking laughing. This is white dude and this black dude. This white dude's just been messing with this black dude. They work together. He's just been fucking with him all day. And black dude's like, you know what, man? I've about had a fucking enough of this shit. He's all fucking mad. White guy's, oh yeah, what you gonna do about it? He's like, I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do. He's like, yeah, tell me where we're going. He's like, well, it's about to be something. He's like, oh, is it about to be something? And the white guy goes, we gonna fight or we gonna fuck? And the black guy goes, huh? He goes, either way, we're getting naked. You pick. Black guy fucking busted out laughing. White dude busted out laughing. They fucking bro hugged and went right back to work. And I'm like, you know what? That's how you're supposed to handle shit.
Diffuse.
Like,
but it's just that, man. Like, you cut through. With something like that, you're cutting through the BS and getting straight to like logical. Like, almost like, and now you're thinking. When you start thinking like that, I almost like what? And then it's like, why am I even mad right now? I don't even know. How did we even get here? It's just there's an IG There's just this video I saw on IG some time ago, and it was along the same lines. Like this guy's like getting in people's face, and they're like, "Yo, like they're ready to fight." Guy just drops his pants and gets naked. Like, "Yo, come on, man, come on, get at me." And they're like, "Yo, like what?" And dudes just start taking off running. I was like, "Well, you know, that's a way to shut it down, right there. You should do that if a trans woman is getting in some girl's face, getting in her face, like, hey, what's happening, man? Just drop your pants." Like, yeah, you trying to deal with some of this? Oh, you want some of this?
What was that TV show? Blue Mountain State, I think it was called.
I never saw that.
Dude, it was. Check it out. It's fucking hilarious. I think it's on Hulu or something like that. But the mascot, he's this little fucking dude, probably weighs 130 pounds, soaking wet, and he's hanging out with the running back, Jones, Sam Jones, somebody like that. King Sam Jones, I think is what he goes by. Anyway, super chill dude. His Instagram's not that chill. I mean, he's live, but all respect though. But anyway, they're walking around in the TV show. He's like, "Look, let me show you how to win every single fight." He grabs a whiskey glass and he throws it across the room. This big ass dude, I mean, like 300-pound guy, security bouncer type, walks over and he's like, "Yo, man, did you just fucking throw that glass?" And the little mousy dude looks at him. He's like, "Yeah, I fucking threw the glass. What? Want me to suck your dick?" he was like, "What?" He's like, "I'll suck your dick right now." It's like, I was like, the guy's like, "Whoa, man, whoa, no." He's like, "We're cool, we're cool." He's like, "That's what I thought."
Somebody actually like. They check you, and he's like, "Oh man, like, I have to do this now."
all of a sudden, it's like, you know what? Like, you just reevaluate the situation very quickly. Like, maybe this isn't that big of a fucking deal.
You know, 9 times out of 10, it's not, man. Like, it really isn't. You know, it's. I mean, things get amped. You're talking like you get amped like that. It lasts for however long, and then it's gone, and then people start feeling like remorseful. You know, some folks do. Some people don't. But then they're just kind of like, "Damn, man, like, I can't believe I let myself do that. Like, I can't believe I did that." You know, there's so much, all this afterthought, you know, once you kind of lost your mind. Cooler heads always prevail. I try to stay on that end of the spectrum. I am not always, like, you know, I mean, people are humans, man. We have emotions. We get pushed to these extremes. But at the end of the day, all this, I mean, man, just keep your hands to yourself, folks. You know, like it's easier said than done.
And don't go out looking for attention by begging for unwarranted attention at the detriment of someone else who you don't even fucking know.
Yeah, or you're throat chopping folks because you think it's cute.
On that note, we're the Cruxmen, and good night.
Good night.